I started out trying to write romantic fiction, and I had a really big problem with romantic fiction because I kept putting dead bodies in it and violent crime, and then I would get anguished calls from editors saying, why, do you have this happening? And I said, well, I thought it was interesting, because to me romantic fiction, it's nice, but it's not particularly interesting because you know what's going to happen. At the end, the boy and the girl get together and everybody's happy. I like things to go wrong. I chose the middle of the 19th century. And the reason I chose this period between, we'll say, 1855 and 1870 is because by then we had a real professional police force. They had a proper detective department, they had plain clothes. Right from the earliest days they had plain clothes. The other thing was the railway. The railway had come for good and it had spread all over the country and it gave people a new mobility. So you had all kinds of different people pouring into the big cities. We also had photography. Photography had come along to stay. And with photography came photojournalism. And for the first time, we really have a picture of the times as they really were. We can see what they saw. My lady sleuth, if you'd like to call her that, Lizzie Martin, she's a young woman, she's in her late 20s, that's a dangerous age for Victorian girls who weren't married and who didn't have money. She has no private income. And she has kept house for her doctor father, now he's died. So now she's got to find a way to make a living, and there were very, very few openings for women. They could be a governess, or they could be a lady's companion. Although Victorian women fashionably were portrayed as being rather clinging ivies, and rather sweet and had to always be rescued by strong men. Actually, they were very, very tough. And if you read their lives, you realize how very tough they were because they had really very difficult lives. I like to know how people react under great pressure. And also, I tend to write about small communities. Because in a small community, if something goes wrong, everybody's affected. The small community can both be a tremendous support, it can also be bring its own pressures. And if you can't escape a small community, if you can't get away from something, maybe your situation does become so intolerable that you begin to think of taking some really drastic action. This is the person who commits the murder sometimes, who cannot get up and walk away. That's the person I'm honing in on.